Hey everyone, this is Troy Harper here at Harper Cigar Lounge, and welcome to episode 8 of season 3. So glad to be here, and thank you guys for all your support to me. All of you that have been supporting me from the beginning, all of you new followers, we've got about five or six new followers now to YouTube. So all of you, thank you for that. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you do that today. Smash that subscribe button, smash that like button and leave your comments and feedback. Share this content to everybody you know out there. Hopefully, it'll make someone's day a little better. But if you know anybody that's into premium cigars or hard rock heavy metal, make sure you let them know about this channel. This is the only channel that combines hard rock heavy metal and premium cigars together. And on this channel, also, I got some other things thrown in as well. A lot of Boston Scala reviews, like this cap I'm wearing here. Um, just did a Boston Scala cap review on this cap here. This is the Violet Rose 8 panel peaky. So I just did a review on this. And a few little surprises with that review if you tune into that. But anyway, guys, so thanks for being here. Welcome. Let's get this party started. Today I am smoking, first of all, this great, which I don't smoke these very often, and I've been saving this one for a very special occasion. But this is the Acid Rome 7 by 48 Churchill Parejo. It is a Connecticut shade wrapper. Um, Binder fillers Nicaragua. It is infused and flavored. Um, and strength is medium. It is handmade, all pure tobacco, long filler tobacco. Um, no mulch tobacco. It is all hand rolled, all long filler natural tobacco. This was made in Nicaragua. And taste notes on this is like creamy taste notes. So kind of a cream. I guess you could say like, I don't know, like a vanilla cream. Also there's some dried cherries flavors and botanicals that are infused into this. And what I mean by botanicals is like the plant or part of a plant um, that is valued for their medicinal, therapeutic uh, flavor or scent. Um, oh, see, what did my properties is what I wanted to say. So again, when I say botanicals, it means plant or plant parts valued for their medicinal, therapeutic, flavor, or scent properties. So I hope you understood that. I'm trying to understand it myself, actually. Uh, so anyway, but it is a great cigar. It's been a while since I've had one. I've had this in my humidor now for 2 years. So it's been aging very well. Um, and again, this is the Rome single 7 by 48 Churchill Parejo. And it is made by Drew Estate. It was started by Jonathan Drew and Marvin Samuel in the late 90s, Drew Estate. So again, this comes from Drew Estate. So, but anyway, it is a very beautiful cigar. It's got a nice purple wrapper on it that says Rome, and it is purple infused and flavored, which I'm not sure what that means by purple infused. So anyway, but let's get this cut or clipped, and I'm going to go ahead and use a V cutter today. I usually have my nice one that my son gives me or got me for Christmas. I forgot to bring that with me today, so I'm going to use this V cutter here, and very good taste of the wrapper. Um, yeah, the wrapper's got some kind of fruity, kind of florally kind of taste to it. So let's see how the draw is after I clip it here. Um, yeah, again, kind of a florally kind of a taste of the draw. But actually the draw was very smooth just now. Yeah, it's got a smooth draw, but definitely some kind of fruity, maybe kind of a cherry kind of a flavor to it. Um, and just some real floral kind of taste to it. But the reason why I chose the acid today is because we are going to be kind of celebrating a band today, which is Black Sabbath, which the acid cigar is something that I would see, these guys back in the day smoking if these were around. Um, since a lot of their music in the beginning, Black Sabbath's music was influenced by a lot of psychedelic bands, which we'll kind of mention a few of those today as well. But Black Sabbath definitely had kind of a psychedelic sound in the beginning, and throughout their time with Ozzy, definitely had some psychedelic sounds here and there. And a lot of them did acid back in those days and all kinds of drugs. Bands up before even Black Sabbath. Again, that I'll mention here soon. But anyway, so I thought I would choose the acid Rome, and this would have been a great cigar for me to save for my smoke and metal podcast, where I combine great cigars and great metal together that go together that help you get in the mood of either both or one or the other better. So check out that podcast. Check out some of those. I haven't done a lot of them yet. I've done, I don't know, 6 or 7 smoke and metal podcasts now, I think. But again, on that podcast, I always combine a great cigar with a great album, and I pair the two. And I usually choose an album that goes with the cigar or the cigar that goes with the album, both to help you get in that mood better or to enjoy that moment better when you're experiencing a great cigar and some great music. So anyway, so check out that podcast. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get this um, toasted up. But let me give you another close up here of that and get all the angles there. There's the foot. It's not it is actually a closed foot. Got to mention that. It is a closed foot. And then there's the end that I used or that I clipped. My cap, I used a V cut. But anyway, so just a really great cigar, great looking cigar. And I am drinking water today. I'm not drinking any alcohol today. I wanted to get the full effect of this cigar. So anyway, after I get this toasted up and get my final light going, we'll get into some heavy metal birthdays. There's not a lot left for this month. I went over most of them on the last podcast. And there was another podcast I was originally going to do today, but me and my mother's into music a lot too. We got into a subject today that led to me doing this podcast today instead. What I originally had planned for this podcast, I'm going to do another time. Maybe the next one I'll do that instead. So anyway, Mom, this show is for you today. Hope you'll enjoy. Um, so I do want to dedicate this podcast to my mother. She has been a huge support to me with all this. She's my number one fan, I would have to say, probably. She supports everything I do with my regular work, which I manage a grocery store here in Kimball. I do carry premium cigars at my grocery store, which is where this one came from. It was the last one I had at my store, so I went ahead and bought it. The people here in town weren't into the acid cigars very much. Took me a while to get rid of them, so I kind of stopped carrying them. But this was the last one, and I bought it up just to save for a special occasion, which today is that day. So I feel. So anyway, but today I'm celebrating Black Sabbath. Um, and again, check out my podcast that I just put out. That is based around Black Sabbath, as well as this Boston Scally cap I'm wearing today, the Violet Rose 8-panel Peaky. I will leave a link um, in the bio section for the Boston Scally Company if you're interested. I'll leave any links that are available based around this podcast today. So anyway, right now I'm just trying to get everything toasted good. I'm turning my cigar I'm rotating my lighter, not getting the flame too close. I just want to get the ashes toasted up, or the tobacco toasted up. I don't want to get it scorched. Um, so that's what I'm trying to do right now. Um, one more little bit here, and it should be ready to go. I'm just trying to get it all, like I said, toasted evenly, so all the tobacco burns evenly, and so I don't have any tunneling issues or any other issues. So it doesn't burn unevenly or anything like that. Don't want anything to ruin this experience today with you guys. And again, thanks for hanging out. I definitely hope you'll enjoy this today, guys. I really do. And again, this is kind of out of the norm for me to smoke this cigar. In the beginning of my cigar journey, I did smoke some acids. I think it was oh gosh, I want to say it was oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. It was kind of a box pressed cigar. Deep dish is what it was called. Deep dish. It had a blue wrapper on it. It was a like a 6x60 Gordo, but it was box pressed. And I had some of those in my store too. It took me a long time to sell those out. I bought the last couple of those and smoked them over time. But this would be good with a like maybe a glass of wine, maybe some cherry wine or something like that. That'd be probably good with this. But again, today I'm just drinking normal water, which is out of the norm for me. I usually, when I'm doing these podcasts with you guys and hanging out, I usually have a drink with me, a little bit of some rum or some whiskey or a beer. But today I'm definitely sticking with the water, just so I can taste this cigar the way I want to. I don't want anything to affect the smell or the taste of this. So anyway, let's get into some heavy metal birthdays. Why don't we? And let me get this going here. So anyway, okay. So first on my list today is Carl Palmer. His birthday was on the 20th. Um, and he is the drummer for Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which I know is a metal, but I went ahead and decided to throw him in anyway. Maybe some of you guys know who Emerson, Lake and Palmer is. Not a band that I'm into. Chester Bennington. And by the way, I'm sorry, I meant to mention that Carl Palmer is now 75 years old. Next is Chester Bennington. He is well, he was the singer for Linkin Park and Grey Days. He would be 49 years old if he was alive still. So he is no longer with us. He passed quite some time back. My buddy Robert Sweet from Striper, his birthday was on the 21st. He is now 65 years old. Hard to believe that my buddies are getting to that age. So they're all about 10 years older than me, around there. But again, Robert Sweet from Striper. I hope to see these guys again soon. I saw them a couple years ago, got to hang out with them for a little bit. And anytime I see them, I usually get to hang out a little bit and catch up with them. And they always remember me and always treat me very well. So anyway, I hope to see him again. I usually see him in Denver, Colorado. I'm about 2 hours and 40 minutes from Denver, here in Kimball, Nebraska. About 2 hours and 40 minutes away from Denver. So um, let's see here. If you guys know who Sum 41 is, Derek Whibley, singer for Sum 41. I'm guessing he's the songwriter as well. Looks like he plays guitar. He's a guitarist as well. Not a band I'm really into. Some of these guys I'm passing up. You can go in and check out this site called Loudwire .com, loudwire.com, to go in and look at the bands that I haven't mentioned that have birthdays in March. But Steven Tyler, he had a birthday on March 26th. He was born in 1948. He's at the age of 77. Really wish I could have seen them on their farewell tour. Um, they canceled before me and my brother were able to go see him in Denver, Colorado. So anyway, my brother was really upset about that. He had never gotten to see him. I've seen him several times. I've met him before, but my brother never did get a chance to see him. He was just a little bit too late. Hello, Grant, by the way, my brother over in Sheridan, Wyoming. Love you. Hope you and the family are doing good. Trey Azagthoth, guitarist for Morbid Angel. He's at the age of 60. Um, let's see here. Perry Farrell, singer-songwriter for Jane's Addiction, age 66 right now. Quick story, when I lived in Miami Beach, Florida, back in 89 through beginning of 91, I was going to school for music and working within the music business, doing concert production, working with pyrotechnics, lighting, did security. Um, we would for the school I went to, which is Career Institutes of America at the time, we would go into Miami to Criteria Studios to have our classes there. Rob Freeman was our teacher, which he helped produce the Kiss Lick It Up album, helped produce Ace Frehley's solo album from the 70s. He's done work with other bands, of course, too, but he was our teacher. And he had pointed out a house that was right across the street from Criteria Studios and let us know that Harry Farrell and some of the guys from Jane's Addiction, or maybe all of them, I'm trying to remember if they were all living in this one house when they were first starting out, but they showed us a house that Jane's Addiction, the guys from Jane's Addiction was living in the beginning when they were starting out. Um, so anyway, I'm sure that story is true, but if you guys know anything about that, if you live in the Miami area, Miami, Florida area, and you know anything about Jane's Addiction and where the Criteria Studios is, which is a very famous recording studio, it's still around. A lot of music and a lot of bands have recorded there. Even the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, I believe, was recorded partially at the Criteria Studios in Miami, Florida. So, you guys let me know if you know anything about that. Graham Edge, drummer for the band Moody Blues. He is no longer around. He passed away at one time. He would be 84 if he was alive. Eric Clapton, born March 30th of 1945. He was the singer and songwriter for Cream, also his solo career. He's at the age of 80 right now. Guitar singer, songwriter. Next is Angus Young. He will be born tomorrow, or he will have his birthday tomorrow. And actually, I gotta say, I apologize. Eric Clapton's birthday is today. So happy birthday, Eric Clapton. He'll be in the discussion a little bit today. And Graham Edge, the drummer for Moody Blues, his birthday is today. Today's the 30th. So his birthday is today as well. So happy birthday to you guys. And tomorrow is Angus Young's birthday. He'll be 70 tomorrow. Hard to believe. Hard to believe that Angus Young will be 70 years old, but he'll be 70 years old tomorrow. He is the guitarist for AC/DC. He was born March 31st of 1955. Hope to see him again soon with AC/DC. I hope they'll be in the States touring eventually. I know they're in a lot of other countries right now touring. And then tomorrow also Mick Ralphs, guitarist for Bad Company. He'll be 81 years old tomorrow. He was born March 31st, 1944. So, and then let's see here. We've got, that's it. That is it. So anyway, then I'll get this set up for heavy metal news. See what we can find for for heavy metal news. So now we're going to loudwire.net or Loudwire. Let's see, is it loudwire.com? Let's see here. I guess it would be Loudwire. I guess it's loudwire.com. I apologize. So anyway, so let's see what we can find for heavy metal news. And I don't think I'm on the right side here. Let's see here. I usually go to, let's see here. Trying to remember what side I always tell you guys about here. See if I can do this again here. Okay. Let's see what I can find here. Oh, here we go. Blabbermouth is where I always go to. Blabbermouth for the recent news. That's been the best site for me, usually. So anyway, so let's see what's on blabbermouth.net today for recent news. Let's see here. Simmons confirms Kiss will play without makeup. As you guys know, they're going to be doing a small residency in Las Vegas, Nevada here pretty soon. And Ricky Rocket is open to some new Poison music. I heard they're going to have a reunion tour, or not a reunion tour, an anniversary tour in 2026. Um, Linkin Park's got a new single out, also a new singer. Um, I guess Lou Graham will tour with Foreigner and Latin America. It looks like coming up. Let's see. Arch Enemy's Michael Amott hasn't forgotten his roots. It's cool to reach more people, but I grew up in the underground metal scene. Okay. Lamb of God's Mark Morton says it took him a long time to have the confidence to release more blues influenced solo album. Wanted to get back to Kiss. Um, there's going to be, like I said, a residency coming with Kiss in Las Vegas. Let me look that up real quick. I'm trying to remember what the dates are. Let's see here. So Kiss will be celebrating their 50 years. Um, Celebrating 50 years of Kiss Army with the hottest fan festival Las Vegas has ever seen. On November 14th through the 16th, Virgin Hotel Las Vegas becomes the ultimate Kiss paradise. Kiss will perform without makeup. Eric Singer, um, Tommy Thayer, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons will perform without makeup. Bruce Kulick's band will be opening up for him, for what I was told or understand. Um, so if you guys can make it to that, more power to you. Great. Will this be the start of anything with Kiss again? I don't know. I have hoped that even though they retired with the makeup, that they would go back to the non-makeup era and start off where they left off with the Revenge tour. I was hoping that they'd go back and kind of, start up where they left off and do that. So, um, the Black Crows looks like they'll be playing the Ray LaMontagne Trouble 20. Let's see. Well, no, that must have been something else. Black Crows. Um, where are they playing? Let's see here. I'm trying to see where they're going to play. Let's see. The Black Crows and Jimmy Page will release the 25th anniversary edition to live from the Greek on March 14th, 2025, revisiting their legendary live collaboration with a fresh spotlight on one of rock's most electrifying pairings. course, they were known for the songs Hard to Handle, She Talks to Angels, Remedy. Those are three of their biggest songs. Um, says co-presented by the Vale Valley Foundation and AEG presents The Black Crow, Saturday, September 13th, 2025. Still not sure where this is that they're talking about. Huh. I am not sure. But anyway, if you guys know where this is, get your tickets. Make sure you make it to that show, I guess. I've been really wanting to see the Black Crows. That was the only thing I was upset about when Aerosmith stopped their tour early. I did not get to see the Black Crows. That was who was going to open up for them. So anyway, so I was a little bummed about that because I'd always wanted to see the Black Crows. Caught on to them in Miami Beach, Florida, when I lived there. At the time they were starting out, I was living down there in 1990, and caught on to them pretty quick and bought their cassette at the time. Really loved it. Still love it. I've got the vinyl CD of their very first album, Shake Your Moneymaker. Let's see here. Anthrax to resume recording new album next week. It's in the oven and cooking, says Charlie Benante. So I'm excited that they've got a new album coming. Tom Morello, some huge superstars will be surprises at Ozzy Osbourne's final concert. Some huge superstars will be surprises at Ozzy Osbourne's final concert. Okay, so I know there's a lot of guests and stuff. I'm not sure where they're going to be or who they're going to play with, or I'm guessing a lot of them are going to be guests on stage with a lot of the other bands that are playing. Metallica to be one of them. Let's see here. Would Tracy Gunsbury join Guns N' Roses for a tour? He responds. That is a good question. Let's see what he has to say here. In a new interview with Scott Itter of Dr. Music, LA Guns guitarist Tracy Guns, who spent some of his early years as a member of Guns N' Roses, was asked if he would ever tour playing guitar for Axl Rose, fronted outfit if he were asked. He responded as transcribed by blabbermouth.net. I think I might. I think it might be musically awkward for a minute because Slash and I would be right back in high school. Well, I'm gonna do this solo. No, dude. I wrote that song, yeah, but I'm not here as a rhythm guitarist, bro. So it'd be kind of bring us to the we're at a party jamming kind of thing, which we've done 20 years ago. Slash and I jammed a couple times. Anyway, so we'll see what happens out of that, I guess. um the scar is doing pretty well, by the way. It's really building up some nice ash. Uh, Still getting a lot of getting floral taste notes, like some dried fruit kind of taste notes, which I'm guessing would be maybe the dried cherry. I'm gonna go ahead and ash that so I don't drop it on myself here. But the construction's staying very well so far. It's not falling apart or unraveling. Like I said, I have aged this for about 2 years now. So it's doing very well. It's burning great, great draw still, great construction. Um, the taste notes, the floral notes, and the dried fruit, cherry kind of maybe kind of a dried cherry flavor. Um, it's not too strong or overpowering. It's just kind of slight. So it's doing very well. So maybe aging it for a little while, maybe tamed it down a little bit because I remember the last time I smoked one of these, it was very florally, very fruity, a lot more than what it is tonight. It seemed like so. Let's see. Claw's mind of the Scorpion still expresses how sad it was to lose James Kotak, uh, ex drummer for Kingdom Come and drummer for the Scorpions for a little while. And it is he was a great drummer. It's too bad he had to go the way he did. He died of alcoholism. Just overdid it too much, and just yeah, it's sad that he had to go. It really is. If you guys are having any issues out there with drugs or alcohol, There's a lot of help out there. Make sure you talk to somebody. Don't let it take your life the way it did to James Kotak. Um, Not a whole lot, it doesn't seem like in news. So we may just end this and go right into everything that I want to discuss today. Um, well, Zach Wall says he doesn't know which songs he will perform at the Ozzy Osbourne's final concert. So that's obviously not put in play yet. Oh, here's a great. My buddies here. Striper announced the summer 2025 40th anniversary Latin American tour. So they're going to be touring over in Mexico, Spain, I'm guessing. Um, so anyway, 2025 40th anniversary Latin American tour. I don't know, does that mean they'll be back in the States too? Let's see what it shows here. Definitely miss my buddies. Would sure love to see him again. It was great getting to see Perry Richardson last time I saw Striper and hang out with my old buddies and getting to hang out with Perry Richardson. We actually smoked a cigar together. Um, so that was pretty cool. No, doesn't look like it says Mexico, Costa Rica, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Brazil. Those are the areas they're going to be playing in. Um, but it sounds like it's going to be a completely different thing than what they did in the States. So anyway, I think we'll leave it at that. Just not a lot of juicy news right now. So I will leave it at that for now. Um, I do want to discuss one more thing. I'm sure you guys know about let's see here. I'm sure you guys know about the reunion that's going to happen July 5th in Birmingham, England. Um, I it's yeah, I'm excited about it. But at the same time, not sure how this is all going to play out. Not sure if Oz, and by the way, this is all going to benefit causes over in Birmingham, England. No one's making any money on this, from what was told by Sharon Osbourne and Tony Iommi in an interview that happened a while back in Birmingham at the stadium that they're going to play at. Um, but July 5th, there's going to be Black Sabbath one-off reunion with all the original members. Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, Geezer Butler, Ozzy Osbourne. They're all going to play together for the first time in 20 years. They've got a lot of special guests. Tom Morello is the music director for this event. Um, says this will be the greatest heavy metal show ever. Um, we'll see, I guess. I do hope to see something from it. I know it's not going to be televised. I don't know if there's going to be any pay-per-view available for it. But the opening bands, it's an all-day event. Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Hailstorm, don't know anything about that band. Hailstorm, Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon will be playing. Some of the guests are Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, David Draymond from Disturbed, Duff McKagan and Slash from Guns N' Roses, Frank Bello from Anthrax, um, and Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, Jakey Lee, which I'm still very confused about. Got a big question mark above my head right now why Jakey Lee's playing at this event. Jakey Lee was asked to leave or Jakey E left, one of the two, because he wasn't getting the credit and getting paid for songs he helped write on the Bark at the Moon album and on the Ultimate Sin album. And those two have never been close or have had anything to do with each other, as well as Sharon Osbourne. All three of them have not been around each other or have anything made up between each other. Nothing worked out with what Jakey Lee feels he should be paid. Um, there's been this big feud for a long time. So I'm not sure in what aspect Jakey Lee is going to be a part of this. I'm not sure why he's even going to be a part of this. I don't know if there's amends that just has never been discussed between him, Ozzy, and Sharon. I don't know. It's just crazy to see that he's going to be there. Jakey Lee also was a part of a band called the Red Dragon Cartel, um, and um, trying to think. Um, yeah, the other band that I really love that he was a part of, along with Eric Singer. Um, trying to think of gosh, and I can't believe I've spaced what that album is, or that group is that he was a part of. Um, I'm gonna go crazy if I don't look this up, and I can't believe I forgot uh what band this was because it's a band that I just love. Um, and I know when I see this, I'm gonna kick myself for not remembering. Badlands, Badlands. Gosh, I can't believe I spaced that, but here's Badlands right there. There's Jake Ely right there. Um, and there's Eric Singer right there. Um, and gosh, Ray Gillen, I forgot to mention Ray Gillen. He's not alive anymore. He passed away of AIDS. He shared a needle with his, I want to say his brother, I think, or cousin at one time, and his brother or cousin, whoever it was, had AIDS and didn't know it and passed it on to Ray Gillen, which Ray Gillen did help sing for Black Sabbath at one time. Eric Singer was a part of Black Sabbath for a very short time. Um, but and then Greg Chelson right here. Not sure who he was a part of. I gotta see here. Trying to remember who he's been involved with. He's out of Phoenix, Arizona, it says. Um, anyway, you guys tell me who he is and what he was a part of. I can't remember. I can't remember um who he was a part of. Let's see here. Well, Voodoo High. Let's see. Those are the bands or the albums he was a part of. Badlands from 1989, Voodoo Highway from 1991, Dust from 1998. He was with a band called Die Happy. He was with Pat Travers. Blindside Blues Band, not sure who that is. A lot of bands I've never heard of here, but anyway, go back to this. But anyway, um, everything is going to be donated to a lot of charities. Cure Parkinson's, Birmingham Children's Hospital, and Acorn Children's Hospice, a children's hospice supported by Aston Villa. So anyway, a lot of great things are a lot of great things. A lot of all the money's going to benefits, which is great. So a lot of great things I believe will come out of this show. I just don't know how well he's going to sing, or if there's going to be any lip syncing. I hope not. I know he'll be in a wheelchair the whole time, which is going to be very hard to see because I love watching him run around and jump around. And I know that even at his age, if he could walk right now, I know he wouldn't be able to run around like he used to, but it'd be nice to be able to see him at least walking around a little bit, and doing that. But so it's going to be bittersweet seeing him in a wheelchair, not getting to see how he normally is on stage, the antics he always pulled on stage and how he acts. But so anyway, in the comments, you guys tell me how you feel about this whole thing. I know my buddy Jacob Lee with um, Jake's Music State, which is his YouTube channel, does a lot of heavy metal reviews. His show is called Jake Not from State Farm. I know he had a lot of mixed feelings about this as well, and I do too, of course. I'm very excited about them getting together uh, to play one more time with all the original guys. I know Ozzy's wanted that pretty badly. So I'm glad that Bill Ward, excuse me, agreed to do it, as well as Geezer Butler and Tony Iommi. I'm glad they all agreed to do one show, and I think it's great that they're giving back to Birmingham where they came from, um, to these charities. I think it's great for that, and as well as all the opening acts and all the guests. No one's getting paid. All this money that's coming from this, from the tickets, merchandise, it's all going to these foundations. So I think that's very, very cool. So anyway, that's it for music news. I think. Let's get into the discussion today, which is based around Black Sabbath. And again, this is my mom's request to discuss this subject. So the subject is, who really started heavy metal? Where did it start? How did it start? Where did it start? How did it really actually start? Black Sabbath has the credit for all the elements that created the term heavy metal, or the genre heavy metal. The dark, doomy uh, lyrics, the tuned down strings, um, the just the doomy, gloomy sound, the lyrics, dark lyrics, the lyrics, lyrics that will just make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. The way the music's arranged just will make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. Um, and let's see here. I gotta get something. Shoot. I'm hoping I can get my screen back up. Here we go. I've got something in my player here that I was gonna play while I'm talking to you guys today. Just to get me in the mood more. Um, okay, so I've got a Black Sabbath show on in the background on YouTube, or well, not on YouTube, but on my Blu-ray player. Um, so Black Sabbath, Never Say Die. Great show from 1978. Um, let's see here. Of course, it's got all the original members: Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward. And this was during the Never Say Die tour. Um, and this was taken over in I was trying to see if it showed where this, or if I was gonna see if it talked about where this show is. Maybe not. I'm trying to remember where this was. I want to say it was in England. Um, in Birmingham, I want to say. Um, okay. I want to say it was, I believe it was in Birmingham where this show was taped. But it is a great concert. If you've never seen this, it was the last tour with Ozzy before they kicked him out of the band. So definitely an interesting concert. Um, Really, really good show. Really good show. Anyway, so if you guys can run into this DVD, make sure you pick it up. I'm not sure what it's worth now, or if it's even available, or how easy it is to get a hold of. I've had my copy now for, oh gosh, I've had this for about 10 years now, probably. And I just about smoked the wrong end. Just about. I guess the acid and the this acid cigar is starting to go to my head. So anyway, guys, so question is where did metal start? A lot of debate, a lot of arguments over time of where metal started exactly. Again, Black Sabbath's been given the credit for all the elements um, that has given them the ownership of starting heavy metal. course, Judas Priest and then Iron Maiden, Motorhead all followed after. Um, Judas Priest actually is considered the start of or the godfathers of speed metal. They're the ones that were given the credit for starting speed metal. Iron Maiden was kind of given the ownership for starting progressive metal. Um, and it's funny because Judas Priest is from Birmingham, England as well, like Black Sabbath. And then Iron Maiden's around from the London, England area. So they're all from close, from the same area pretty much. So, but really, where did metal start? Was it the Beatles in 1960? I don't think so. Um, Even though Ozzy Osbourne was influenced by Paul McCartney and the Beatles, um, it is what caused Ozzy to want to get involved in music after he saw the Beatles for the first time. Gene Simmons from Kiss also said that after he saw the Beatles for the first time on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I think Ozzy Osbourne mentioned the Ed Sullivan Show as well. They both love the idea of the girls screaming in the audience and wanting those guys on stage, and they both like, we want a piece of that. So, but at least Gene Simmons said that anyway from Kiss. But Ozzy Osbourne was just greatly influenced from the Beatles to want to get into music. But I'm not gonna. But the Beatles did not start heavy metal. I can tell you that right now. They were more pop sounding. Of course, they had some good. There were some good riffs between George Harrison and good bass lines, from Paul McCartney. But the elements definitely weren't there to start metal. And the Beatles started in 1960 from London, England. Their first album was Please Please Me from 1963, in case you're wanting to know. Um, and then long after that came the Rolling Stones in 1962. Their first album it was just self-titled album from 1964. They had a lot of bluesy uh, elements, very dirty, grungy, bluesy kind of sound to their music, very gritty, nasty, dirty lyrics, considered back in those days. Um, I don't think the Rolling Stones would be considered anyone that's, started the whole metal elements. I don't believe the Rolling Stones or the Beatles did that. I believe that Ozzy Osbourne and the guys in Black Sabbath may have been influenced in some ways by the Stones, just because of the bluesiness of their music and the grittiness of it. Um, and then along came the Who in 1964, and their first album was My Generation in 1965. They were the first band that I remember where Keith Moon would destroy his drum set, kick everything over at the end of the show. Had a lot of just hard hitting elements with his drumming. And of course, Pete Townsend, the way his guitaring style was, and he was busting his guitars up, which I believe Paul Stanley probably took that idea from Kiss. And uh, um, lead singer for the Who. Um, um, Gosh, I'll think of his name here in a second. Um, um, Gosh, I can't believe I forgot the lead singer for the Who's name. But you got Keith Moon breaking his and it's actually Roger Daltrey is who I was trying to say. But you've got the Who, uh, Roger Daltrey swinging his microphone around in the air, um, during while he's performing, and you got Pete Townsend, um, throwing his guitar into the amps, busting his guitar on stage. Keith Moon busting his guitar or his drum set up, all that, and then you got John Entwistle, his bass style all those elements would fit heavy metal in a lot of ways. Um, just the stage presence, the antics on stage while they're performing. But again, they were too popish. Of course, they had some great riffs and some great hard stuff, going on with their music. They had some, some hard edged music definitely, but it wasn't consistent. The elements just weren't consistent. By the way, I was gonna show you guys this Rolling Stones. I don't own really. I've got a lot of Rolling Stones stuff downloaded. Um, I really don't have any. I don't have all their albums or anything like that, but I do got this 40 Licks 2 disc set that I got of the Stones. It's got a ton of their great music, so it's one of my favorite CDs, definitely. And then the Who. This is a great compilation set. I've got all the Who albums. I've got all the Who DVDs. I got all the live stuff. I've got everything from the Who pretty much. I've even got some tour shirts. But this is called the Ultimate Collection. This is a great. If you don't have anything from the Who and you're wanting to get a great compilation set, this is a great set to have. As well as that Rolling Stones 40 Licks. If you don't have anything from the Stones and you just don't want to spend a lot of money on each of their albums, um, that's a great compilation album as well. Um, and let's see here, and then yeah. So anyway, the Who was just they had a lot of the elements for stage, kind of stuff on stage. They had some great, Keith Moon's drumming was hard and heavy, and John Entwistle had that just those great bass lines, heavy bass lines. That would definitely be a great element for metal, I think. And then Pete Townshend's guitaring, um, but it just wasn't consistent in my eyes to make it to give them all the credit for starting metal. I think there was I think there is an element in there that definitely I believe it definitely did influence, which I know it influenced the Black Sabbath. There was elements that did influence Black Sabbath definitely. Um, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, there's definitely some elements, with the Who that influenced Black Sabbath. So next is Cream. They came out in 1966. They're from London, England as well. The Who's from London, England. The Rolling Stones are from London, England. The Beatles are all from London, England. It's and Cream again is from London, England. They started in 1966. Their first album was called Fresh Cream in 1966. And I hope I mentioned the Who's first album was called My Generation in 1965. But anyway, so here's a great compilation set for Cream called Gold. A lot of great songs on this album. A lot of great stuff. So they definitely had that psychedelic kind of sound, and actually that was something the Who had on stage too. They had some psychedelic visual elements on their backdrops in the back, behind the stage. The way their clothing were very flashy and colorful. So definitely the Who kind of ended up having a lot of that psychedelic kind of style to their clothing, their hairstyles, the imagery on stage, on top of all the smashing of the drum set by Keith Moon and smashing the guitars, that was done as well. Um, and gosh, just again, just all those elements that the Who did. Definitely that I believe probably influenced Sabbath how to act on stage or to be on stage. I believe that was a huge part of the influence was the stage presence for Black Sabbath, as well as just some of the heaviness of some of the music that they did. And then Cream came along and they had that real blues, psychedelic kind of sound. Um, and I really believe that's, where Black Sabbath got a lot of the psychedelic kind of ideas for their music, as well as the visuals. That blues, that real bluesy, dark bluesy lyrical content sound with their toned down strings on the guitars. And I know the Who influenced Sabbath as well with some of their psychedelic imagery and the way some of their music was. And then so yeah, and then we had Jethro Tull that came along in 1967 as well. Um, and they're from Blackpool, Lancashire. And their first album, 1968, was called This Was. And actually, Tony Iommi left Black Sabbath, which they were called Earth at the time. He actually left and joined Jethro Tull's band and became a guitarist for him for a short time. He decided to leave Jethro Tull, go back and get Black Sabbath going in the direction they needed or that he wanted them to go in. So again, went back, changed the name to Black Sabbath, and ended up cutting their first album in 1970. But Jethro Tull's first album was called This Was in 1968. Um, and so a lot of psychedelic type of stuff there within their music. Um, and so that was a big influence I know on the guys in Black Sabbath. And then Led Zeppelin came along in 1968 from London, England as well. Their first album was in 1969. It was just called Led Zeppelin. Um, and which I thought I brought down with me, but I guess maybe I didn't. I thought I did. Anyway, but Led Zeppelin's first album, definitely a lot of blues, psychedelic kind of stuff. Some elements of psychedelic, a lot of blues, but it really wasn't music that influenced Black Sabbath because Black Sabbath had already established their sound. I believe at the time when Led Zeppelin was out and getting noticed for the first time, Black Sabbath already had their elements kind of in place of what they were going to do. Um, so I don't believe Led Zeppelin was an influence either, but I do believe Led Zeppelin had some of the elements for heavy metal as well. They had some kind of toned down strings as well in some of their music that Jimmy Page did. The psychedelic kind of lyrics and the visuals um, uh, definitely would have been an element for them to have the heavy metal genre ownership. But no, there was some inconsistencies in my eyes there as well. Um, I just don't think Led Zeppelin was heavy enough. They didn't have the doomy, gloomy lyrics like Ozzy Osbourne and the guys in Black Sabbath came up with. So definitely Led Zeppelin. I don't believe was should have the title meant for starting heavy metal as well. I do think the elements were there off and on with Jimmy Page's guitaring and everything, but I believe Led Zeppelin is more of an influence on the bands that came later, like the New York Dolls. They were very glammy, like Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin had that kind of glammy look with their stage clothing and all the very long hair with Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. They had that very long hair. Their outfits were very glammy kind of looking and dark as well, I suppose. So you had the New York Dolls that kind of came out later in the early 70s or so that had that real glammy look. They were almost they looked like women pretty much on stage. And I think that's what they kind of wanted to look like. And then you had Van Halen that came out in the middle 70s or so. And I think Van Halen really, Led Zeppelin, and I think Led Zeppelin, the New York Dolls, and Van Halen kind of set the stage for all the very glammy, sleazy hair metal bands that kind of came out in the early 80s, is what I believe. Middle 80s, um, such as bands like Kix, Pretty Boy Floyd, of course, Kiss got that, idea from the putting on the makeup, from Alice Cooper, um, which Alice Cooper could be kind of flamboyant as well at times. Um, but Alice Cooper combined with the New York Dolls, Kiss got that idea to put on makeup as well. And some of the punk bands that they were in the same hotel with in the beginning where they were playing vacant hotels. Some of those bands had makeup on that also influenced Kiss to take the makeup and take it further. Um, so I believe those bands, like I said, Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, New York Dolls set the stage for a lot of the bands that came later that were very glammy. I'm trying to think like Cinderella as well, Poison, Enough's Enough, Kicks, LA Guns. The list goes on and on with the very glammy, sleazy kind of sounding bands that came, starting in the early 80s, more of that, or the middle 80s. So anyway, and then American influences on Black Sabbath was Jimi Hendrix Experience from Seattle, Washington. First album they had was Are You Experienced in 1967. Um, and there were some elements that Jimi Hendrix definitely had that I feel was the start of some heavy metal. Just the way his guitaring was kind of dark. He would light his guitar on fire on stage, and just some of the way that Jimi Hendrix act on stage was definitely influenced, I believe, where some of the way bands acted later on stage, I believe, was giving credit to Jimi Hendrix as far as I know too. Um, um, and then we had Janis Joplin with her band Big Brother and the holding company um, in 1967. Their first album was I Got Them All Cosmic Blues Again, Mama from 1969. Uh, Janis Joplin's from Port Arthur, Texas. She went to school with my dad. They went to the same high school. And Jimmy Johnson, that coached the Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s, also went to high school with Janis Joplin. Jimmy Johnson and my dad played on the same football team. And reading Jimmy Johnson's book after it came out, because I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, but reading his book back in the 90s, all the stories about Janis Joplin and the stories that my dad had were very similar. And they also talked about Coach Underwood. Jimmy Johnson talked about Coach Underwood in that book as well as my dad talked about him all the time too. But so anyway, but just some of the elements that Janis Joplin had, some of the heavy riffs, um, and the way Janis Joplin sang, definitely some elements there that influenced Black Sabbath. Um, and again, they're originally from Port Arthur, Texas, Janis Joplin, but she moved to Los Angeles, California, late, through in the beginning of her time of getting involved in music. Um, the one thing I was always told, though, I thought my dad told me, I thought he had mentioned that she dropped out of high school. Well, after kind of studying up on Janis Joplin a little bit, Janis Joplin, she actually did graduate from high school in Port Arthur, Texas, and even went on to college for a very short time and was studying, I think it was psychology or something like that. So she almost went in that direction and then got into music instead. Um, and then we had Steppenwolf in 1967. Originally, the guys from Canada, but then moved to Los Angeles, California. So they were kind of considered a Canadian American band. Self-titled album, 1968 was their first album. They had some very heavy riffs, psychedelic kind of sound. Uh, John Kay, the lead singer, the way he sang was very rough at times. Definitely had some metal elements in how he sang that influenced Black Sabbath as well, but not enough to give them the entitlement of starting heavy metal as well. Um, but all these bands I've mentioned so far all have the elements that caused Black Sabbath to go in the direction musically that they did. They took all these bits and pieces from all these groups and put it into their music. And then also just um, so all these bands I mentioned just now were from America. And then there was Gene Reinhardt from 1928 to 1953, also known as Django Reinhardt. He was a jazz guitarist and composer from Ponticellos, Belgium. Um, and so he was a big influence on Bill Ward and the drummer for Black Sabbath, as well as everyone. So they even used some of his jazz guitaring and composing that he used or did into their music as well. And then Count Basie, he was alive from 1904 to 1984, but he was in he was a big part of the Benny Moten's Kansas City Orchestra, and he's from Red Bank, New Jersey. Um, but yeah, he was alive from 1904 to 1984. And he was with this orchestra from 1929 to 1932. So those two were big influences as well on the guys in Black Sabbath, especially Bill Ward and Ozzy Osbourne. Um, and I believe Tony Iommi had some influences from these guys as well. So, and then the Black Sabbath influenced a lot of bands that came later: Megadeth, Metallica, Iron Maiden, the Runaways, Faith No More, Judas Priest. These bands were hugely influenced by Black Sabbath, and gosh, Pantera, the guys in Pantera, also influenced by Black Sabbath hugely. Um, Joan Jett, of course, she was with the Runaways. Lita Ford, that was with the Runaways. Both of those ladies were very influenced by Black Sabbath. Um, and the list just goes on and on and on. Still to this day, you'll hear a lot of bands mention Black Sabbath as one of their biggest influences. And I know as me as a drummer, which I haven't been drumming now for a little while, but me as a drummer, I had a lot of influences from Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, Peter Criss from Kiss, Eric Carr from Kiss, um, um, and John. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of who else. John Bonham from Led Zeppelin, um, Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden. Um, I had a lot of influences on me for my drumming styles that I practiced every day. So anyway, this cigar, let me mention real quick, is still holding up very well. I dropped one ash, by the way. You probably saw that. So no, this is not dropping the ash podcast that I do. This is the Harper Cigar Lounge podcast. Just so you are back in the know. And so I can get you back in the right place here. So don't be confused. This is not the Dropping the Ash podcast that I usually do. Which I this is where it all started. During my Harper Cigar Lounge podcast at one time. I kept dropping ashes during this show, and people would message me and say, "You ought to call that the Dropping the Ash podcast or something." And I thought, that was funny. And I told him, I said, "Well, I'm not going to change the name of this podcast, but maybe down the road I will add another podcast based on around cigars and cigar tips, and maybe I'll call it Dropping the Ash podcast." Well, I checked around to make sure no one else had that name, and no one had that name anywhere. And so I grabbed it up, started a different podcast. So make sure you guys catch that podcast as well. Check out my Smoke and Metal podcast, where I pair great cigars and great heavy metal, hard rock music together, to make the experiences better for you. Like I've discussed, maybe the cigar brings back some great memories of certain music or a concert you went to, and you hadn't listened to that album from that band for a while, so it'll influence you to listen to that music. Or maybe you're listening to music and you're thinking, "Wow, this cigar would be a great cigar to smoke right now." Um, while I'm listening to this music. So check out that podcast as well. Check out my Troy Marchia cigar review, which I haven't done a ton of those either. I smoke Italian cigars or very rare cigars. I discuss latest of all the cigar news and throw out some cigar trivia. So I got to get another one of those shows up soon. But thank you guys for being a part of this today here. So let me kind of show you my Black Sabbath collection. And by the way, Black Sabbath was originally called the Polka Tulk Blues Band in 1968. Then they changed their name to Earth in 1968 to 1969. Found out that there's another band called Earth, which a funny story by Ozzy and the guys. They said one time they were hired by kind of a high-end restaurant or something to go play. And so they get there and everyone's jaws are dropped. They're looking at these guys wondering what the heck is going on. Well, there was another band called Earth that was supposed to be a jazz band that was supposed to be there, and they contacted the guys in Black Sabbath, which again was called Earth, and so the 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 restaurant had the two bands confused. Got a hold of the guys in, Ozzy and Tony Iommi and the guys. They got a hold of them to play at this venue, and then kind of find out they were really meaning to get a hold of the other group called Earth. That was more of a jazz band. So at that point, Black Sabbath decided to change their name and come up with a new name. They were practicing at a church, in the basement of a church, and across the street was a theater. And they saw that there was a movie called Black Sabbath, and they thought, well, that would be a great name. And they were already writing doomy, gloomy, kind of horror based music, or scary themed music, which Black Sabbath really was writing music to warn people about evil, not to be a part of it, but to warn them about it so they'd stay away from it. Ozzy Osbourne's dad even made big crosses for them all to wear for protection. But anyway, so they decided to call themselves Black Sabbath. And then, of course, they wrote the song Black Sabbath based on an experience that Ozzy Osbourne had with Geezer Butler. Um, Geezer Butler knew Ozzy was was dabbling with witchcraft and different things, and brought Ozzy this book about witchcraft. And in the middle of the night or somewhere, Ozzy Osbourne saw a big black mass standing over his bed. And Ozzy Osbourne at that point decided to, and even his room was like painted black and everything. It was just, he was definitely dabbling deep into witchcraft. But anyway, so Ozzy Osbourne saw this big black mass over his bed, scared the crap out of him. So he got rid of the book that Geezer Butler brought him, put the book up in a cabinet, and didn't tell anybody about putting this book up in this cabinet in his apartment. But Ozzy was telling Geezer about this, what happened, and Ozzy told Geezer that he wanted him to take that book back and get rid of it. Ozzy went to go grab it out of the cabinet, it wasn't there anymore. Never could find that book. Geezer Butler didn't know anything about it, so he couldn't have taken it. Nobody else knew about this experience that Ozzy had, so no one else could have taken it. But that book disappeared and never was found ever. So Ozzy Osbourne, after that experience, definitely wanted no part of getting involved with black magic or white magic, any of that. So they all got away. They were all kind of dabbling with things. Geezer Butler was as well. Decided to get away from that completely, and that's when they wanted to start writing music about warning people about what evil really does and what it's about. So people really thought Black Sabbath was about, uh, getting involved with the evil and all that. Well, it was the opposite. Warner Brothers at the time went against some of the wishes of Black Sabbath. They wanted to put an upside down cross in in their debut album. Wanted to have a big celebration at the Satanic Church where Anton LaVey was. They said no, no way, we're not going to do that. Well, Warner Brothers printed that album up without their permission and put the upside down cross in it anyway. Um, and I don't have my vinyl down here, but maybe I'm trying to remember if my CD's got that in it. Let me see here. I can't remember in this remastered CD I got if it actually shows that image. But Warner Brothers completely went against everything that the guys said they didn't want any part of, and they even had a parade uh, with, it was either Anton LaVey in the parade or someone that looked like him. No, it's not in here, guys. Um, but in my vinyl, it's got the actual artwork that was in the original album in my remastered vinyl. Um, but um, but the guys told Warner Brothers they did not want to have a party at the to celebrate the release of the debut album at Anton LaVey's church. They didn't want to do anything with the parades. They didn't want any of that kind of publicity. Um, and so they did it anyway. They had a big gathering at the Satanic Church, had a parade. And again, not sure if it was actually Anton LaVey in the parade at the time that Ozzy was talking about, but they were they had a big float that said Black Sabbath on it with the debut, like a big poster, big cardboard thing with the new album, which again is this one right here from 1970, self-titled Black Sabbath album. Um, and there's the back of it right there. But so anyway, but they went ahead and did everything. And they even put the upside down cross in the album behind the guy's back and released it before Black Sabbath knew that was in there. So they were not happy about that. So anyway, yeah, so that happened. So those guys were pretty upset about about that, but it was too late. It would have cost a lot of money to take those albums back off the shelf and redo them. It wasn't in their budget to do that, of course, since they were just starting out. And Warner Brothers probably would have refused to do it anyway, because they thought that would bring them more success because of the controversy from the imagery of that upside down cross and because of everything that was going on with the parade and the party at the Satanic Church. Warner Brothers thought that'd bring them all the success they needed just because of all the controversy behind all that. But the guys in Black Sabbath were very upset by that. They really were. But anyway, on this Black Sabbath album, again, this is the remaster, um, and this is the only time there was ever a picture of Ozzy with his hair all teased up like that. So anyway, very rare photo. But anyway, there's trying to get that great photo of Black Sabbath right there. So anyway, but some really great songs on this. Really was all of them, but Black Sabbath, The Wizard, Behind the Wall of Sleep, NIB, which stands for Nativity in Black, Evil Woman, Don't Play Your Games with Me, Sleeping Village, and Warning. All of these songs are great on this album. Was this my favorite album of Black Sabbath? No, it wasn't. Uh, it's up there, but this is probably my favorite album right here. Paranoid, which also came out in 1970 on Vertigo Records, um, which I think originally it was Warner Brothers originally, but this remaster is on Sanctuary and Vertigo Records. This is my favorite Black Sabbath album right here. Um, there's the inside right there. Um, a great package. The packaging on this is great. A lot of great stuff on here, really. And I won't get into everything, but this is the remaster deluxe. This one is also the remaster deluxe edition. But some of the great songs on this is War Pigs, Paranoid, Iron Man, Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Fairies Wear Boots. But anyway, there's the back of it right there. And this also has DVD audio as well. Um, on this one, the second disc on this one, it's got remixes of all the songs, studio outtakes. I guess is more of what it really is. There's some instrumental versions, alternative versions on this album as well. Again, on disc two, it's uh, audio on DVD. Has a lot of images throughout. While each song plays, there's a lot of different Black Sabbath images. And then disc three is remixes, instrumentals, with all the songs as well. So, but anyway, yeah. So this is my favorite album right there, Black Sabbath Paranoid. And definitely a great album. Definitely a great album. Love this album very much. So anyway, two great albums really, but this is my favorite one out of those two. 1971, we got Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, right there, and great album as well. Um, you can definitely tell during this album that they were heavily influenced by drugs. Um, Sweet Leaf, After Forever, Embryo, Children of the Grave, Lord of this World, Into the Void, all great songs. And then there's some studio outtakes on the second album. So there's the back of it right there. And the inside is just all like really purple and black looking. But just some really great packaging as well on this. So anyway, really, really great stuff on these releases, and that is the deluxe edition as well. And then 1972, we got Black Sabbath Volume 4, and this was a release where they really started doing a lot of experimenting with their sounds and everything. Um, Wheels of Confusion, Tomorrow's Dream, Changes, great ballad, probably one of the very first ballads that was ever made, um, as far as I'm concerned. Um, St. Vitus Dance, Laguna Sunrise. There's the back of it. So volume 4 from 1972. So anyway, and then next up is Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. One of my Another great album that I really love. A lot of people thought this was definitely proving that Sabbath was into Satanism. But if you turn around on the back, uh, the spiritual side, the good spiritual side of things, very heavenly things takes over and cleanses all the evil from the guy. Because on the front, he was being possessed by Satan. There's demons around him. The big skull above him was 666. Being attacked by a demon or by demons. Um, but on the other side, you can see that spiritual, heavenly spiritual things takes over and rids of all the evil from this man. There's two lions at the foot of his bed, as you can see right there. There's these angelic looking beings around him. But anyway, so again, this is a remastered edition, not a deluxe, but it is remastered. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, very psychedelic influenced song. National Aerobat, Fluff, Sabracadabra, Killing Yourself to Live, um, Spiral Architect. Those are just some of the great songs on this. Next is Sabotage from 1975, and in July will be the 50th anniversary of Sabotage. Another great album, but definitely you can tell they're definitely heavily influenced by drugs on this album. And just the way Ozzy's acting on the back, that's exactly kind of the way Ozzy always acted during his solo career. And going forward, he was always just kind of that's the image I always remember Ozzy from as, just very I don't know, just not serious acting at all or anything. But some of the great songs on this is "Hole in the Sky," "Symptom of the Universe," or "Symptom of the Universe," "Megalomania," "Am I Going Insane?" Yeah, great album, really is. There's the inside of it right there. I'm sorry I didn't show you the inside of this album. I should have. So there's that. On the other side here behind the CD, it's got Geezer Butler and Tony Iommi. Um, and then this came out a little bit later as a deluxe edition in 2002, but this is called Past Lives. Has a show from the Sabotage tour as well as the um, Master of Reality tour. So two shows on this, but just to love the packaging on this. Um, and the shows are very raw sounding. For the recording equipment back at the time, it wasn't real great. So it is kind of raw sounding, but it is a great package. I got the vinyl for this as well. Great album. If you can get a hold of this on vinyl or CD, they're both great. I got both. So anyway, but just a lot of great songs on here from the Master of Reality tour and the Sabotage tour. So um, next studio album is a Technical Ecstasy from 1976. there's the back of it right there. There's the inside right there. Some of the great songs on this is Rock and Roll Doctor, Dirty Women, You Won't Change Me. Not as many hits on that as some of the other albums. And then the last album that Ozzy did with these guys was 1978's Never Say Die, right there. There's the back of it. Remastered edition. There's the inside of it. Some of the great songs on this is Never Say Die. Um, let's see here. Johnny Blade, A Hard Road, Shockwave, Air Dance. Definitely some great songs on here, but definitely wasn't their last two albums they created was not as good as all the rest of their albums for sure. Um, so anyway, that was it for Ozzy. After that, Dio came in to take over not too long after. But then Sabbath got back together and did a reunion show in 1998. So I've got that show or this CD, double disc set. Um, there's the inside. But this was the first time Sabbath played with all the original members since the Never Say Die tour. Actually, that's not true. They did do it. I forget what year it was, but it was at a festival. But Ozzy did reunite with the original guys in Black Sabbath for just a 2-song set. And that was during one of Ozzy's. Oh gosh, I want to say it was probably. Um, I don't know if it was the Bark at the Moon tour. I think it might have been the Bark at the Moon tour, or yeah, it was around that time. I think I can't remember, but they did just 2 songs together, Ozzy and the original guys in Black Sabbath, and then led to this later in 2000 or 1998 for them to do a full-on reunion tour. So this CD is called Black Sabbath Reunion. I've got this on vinyl as well, remastered. Um, And then this is a great compilation set. It's called Symptom of the Universe 1970 to 1978. It's a 2-disc set. A lot of great songs on this. It's got a great book with it. 2 discs and a really cool book that comes with it right there. And just a lot of great photos and pictures. And there's one of the pictures in there. Um, another great picture of Ozzy there, but just a lot of great stuff in that. And great set to have if you don't have the money to buy all the albums. This is a great set to have, definitely. So, really rare photo there. So consider that if you can find it. Not sure how easy it is to find anymore, but definitely a great set to have if you can find it. So anyway, Black Sabbath, Symptom of the Universe, 1970, 1978. And that came out in 2002 as well. Yeah, 1998, 2002. And then later, Black Sabbath got back together and did 13 without Bill Ward. But this came out in 2013, Black Sabbath 13, which meant their 13th album. End of the Beginning, God is Dead, Loner, Zeitgeist, or Zeitgeist, something like that. Age of Reason, Live Forever, Damaged Soul, Dear Father, Methodemic, Peace of Mind, Pariah, and Navadi in Black, I think is, or Naved in Black, something like that. I'm not pronouncing things right. I know. You can see that on the bottom there. Navati in Black, I can't remember. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But anyway, so Black Sabbath 13, first studio album since Never Say Die. And then Black Sabbath brought out this limited edition CD called The End. It's got a few live songs, some songs on here that wasn't put onto the 13 album. Um, so these were bonus songs that were not put on the 13 album. And again, just some rare, like some live stuff on here. There's the inside of it right there. Uh, and then you got another CD that looks like an old 45, which is really cool. But the songs on here is a Season of the Dead, Cry All Night, Take Me Home, Isolated Man, and then the live song is God is Dead, Under the Sun, End of the Beginning, Age of Reason. One song, a couple of the songs were in Canada taken, one in New Zealand, one in Australia and Sydney. But anyway, so that came out next, and then they brought out the DVD and CD set. So here's the live CD, live DVD right here. Or is it the other way around? So nope, live DVD, live CD, double disc set. So great set to have, definitely. And then let's see, and those came out 2017 and 2017 those came out. So 2017 and then lastly, they brought out in 2017 as well the Black Sabbath, the Ultimate Collection. And I think this actually came out before all the live stuff came out, I believe. But this is a great set to have as well. I just bought it to add to my collection. I've already have all these songs, but I just bought it to add to my collection just because it was such a neat set to have, I thought. So anyway, great set to have also. If you don't want to spend money on all their albums, great compilation set to have. So really, if you can get a hold of this and this and any of the live albums, along with this set here, if you got all three of these, you're in good shape to have pretty much all the Black Sabbath songs you'll ever really need. So make sure you try to get a hold of some of those albums, and if you're, I think a lot of that stuff may be easy to buy. Um, the one CD I didn't bring down there, I don't have it on CD anymore. I've got it on vinyl. It's "Sell Your Soul for Rock," Soul, Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. It's called. It's just another compilation set. So that would be a good set or a good album too to find if you can find it. If you have all that, you'll pretty much have all the Sabbath music you need. This CD's or this I'm sorry, this cigar's been good. And I think it's just probably because I've been talking too much, but I've had to give it a couple relights now. This is actually my third relight, I believe. Um, so it's not staying lit unless I puff on it constantly. I'm noticing. Um, Let me give it another relight. But anyway, guys, again, you guys tell me in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are on who you believe started heavy metal. Was it Led Zeppelin? Was it Cream? Was it Steppenwolf? I consider them more southern rock, if anything. Yeah, but I guess that if I had to narrow it down to anyone that started heavy metal, it'd be the Who, um, Led Zeppelin, I suppose, and Jimi Hendrix. I think those would be the three major elements I would consider that started heavy metal or that could have that titlement as well. But Jimi Hendrix was just very bluesy, psychedelic. Cream was very bluesy, psychedelic. The Who had definitely some hard hitting riffs and drumming and bass guitar work from Pete Townsend. But out of all of them, Led Zeppelin, The Who, and Jimi Hendrix would probably be the heaviest. Cream definitely had some heavy stuff too, so I guess I'd have to throw them in as well. Janis Joplin, her guitars had some heavy riffs. So there's just a lot of little elements between everybody that really helped Sabbath create that sound that they did, just to really cause them to be really the fathers, the godfathers of metal. So personally for me, I definitely agree Black Sabbath. should have that entitlement of being the godfathers of metal for starting that genre. But you guys tell me what you think in the comments. Um, Definitely want to know your thoughts on the whole subject. But Mom, hopefully this helped you today. I really do. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this was very enjoyable and interesting. I already showed you guys this DVD, but I wanted to show you guys this DVD right here, The Last Supper. This came out in 1999. This was there's some conversations, interviews, and live performances on this. This was from the reunion tour that they did in 1998 for the first time with all the original members. And then this is a great live DVD as well, Gathered in Their Masses. This was the from the 13 tour when Sabbath did their final reunion tour or farewell tour. Um, and just a great, definitely a great DVD as well. Um, there's a great little book inside as well. Let's see here. I wanted to see uh, just there. There's a few pictures in here, right there. Has just a list of all the songs. Um, Live shot right there. And this was the tour that I was wanting to see them on, and I never could. A few more pictures there. More pictures. Really great pictures on this, definitely. Tommy Clefados was on drums, Adam Wakeman on keyboards and guitar, Ozzy Osbourne vocals, Tony Iommi on guitar, Geezer Butler on bass. So there's the last page right there. But anyway, just yeah, really great live DVD from their very last farewell tour. And this was taped in Birmingham, England, this concert right here. So right there, Birmingham, England. This one was in Birmingham, England as well, as far as I remember. And I believe this one was as well. So anyway, great DVDs, great cigar today, even though I've had to do a few relights. My rating on it right now would probably be a 94, just because of the relights, but I gotta give myself some of the blame for some of that for talking too much. But I was gonna tell you the aromatics in the air are really good. Got some nice sweet aromas in the air, fruity, floral kind of scents in the air. But the construction's been great on this. It hasn't fallen apart or unraveled. It's really been doing pretty well. Um, Still tasting great. It does build up some nice ash, but rather quickly, it seems. But definitely a good cigar. Definitely. The acid Rome. Churchill. My voice is cracking. Churchill. I guess I better get a drink of water really quick. And then I'm going to give out some shout outs real quick. And then we'll end this podcast today. Um, some of the shout outs today, Jacob Lee, my buddy over in Rapid City, South Dakota. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel, Jake's Music State, as well as his show called Jake Not from State Farm. Does tons of great music reviews. Has some other interesting things that he discusses as well. I've been on a guest on his podcast. He's been a guest on mine once. He's been a guest on a lot of other people's podcasts out there. So make sure you check out Jacob Lee at Jake's Music State on YouTube. Cody Alexander out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Willem Beebe out of Tennessee. Will Sequino, he's from around here in Kimball, Nebraska. Keith Kinneberg from Lingle, Wyoming. John Bartone, East Haven, Connecticut. Andrew Place over in Torrington, Wyoming, that's been doing some tattoo work for me lately. James Tucker, over in Broomfield. I'm sorry, Hot Springs, Arkansas. David Fisbeck, old high school buddy from Broomfield, Colorado. Jason Doctor, old high school buddy from high school in Torrington, Wyoming. He's in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Jason Harper, can't remember where he's from. Um, Robert from Montana. Scott Sullivan from Tampa, Florida. He's got some relatives here. He was down here visiting last summer. That's how I met him. Bought some cigars from me. We talked and we've been in touch since. Daniel Revanelli from the 505 Cigar Review out of Cheyenne. He's on all platforms. He's got some really great cigar shows. Daniel Finley out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Corey Banks, Samuel Hoffman, Jason Smith with the Cigar Junkies out of Pittsburgh. And we got David Garofalo, Two Guys Cigars out of Salem, New Hampshire, and Nashua, New Hampshire. Tim Swanson with Cigars Daily out of Phoenix, Arizona. And Dave Puskovich over at, he's in Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. He's got a great cigar shop. He's also got cigars online. He's got his own line of cigars, which are all really great. But it's Leaning House Fine Cigars. He's got great entertainment. You got to check his place out if you're in that area. So if you're in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, look him up. And then again, Samuel Hoffman that I mentioned with the Cigar Junkies. He's got a great cigar shop called Just the Tip Cigars in South Park, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh as well. So make sure you check out those places. Um, and of course, I want to give a shout out to my brother Grant Harper over in Sheridan, Wyoming. Hope you're doing well, brother. I love you, miss you. My sister Sharon and my niece Lindsay over in Torrington, Wyoming, and my mom Sheila over in Torrington, Wyoming as well. Um, they've all been such a huge support to me, so I want to mention them today, definitely. Um, got a lot of new members. Got about 6 new members on the YouTube channel here. So thank you all of you for all of you that are following me here. I hope you'll stay with me. But to name a few, Sking Solly, Tim Placilla, Reds Vet, N1 Umbrella Corp Hater, Craig and Heather Cox, Jacob Hammond, Jessica Vest, Mike Morrison, American Sheepdog, Scoosh 1999, The Hodge, My Music Corner, James McWayne, Todd Boyce, um, Tramel Gibson, just to name some of the followers I have on YouTube. Again, right now we're up to 285 members on YouTube. Would like to see more. Um, over on my Facebook group page under Harper Cigar Lounge. We've got 1,812 members on the Facebook group page under Harper Cigar Lounge. Some newer members is Keith Muskowitz. He joined a week ago. Woe Cigar joined 2 weeks ago. Stogie.hub joined 2 weeks ago. B&A Cigars joined 3 weeks ago. Neil Westbrook joined 3 weeks ago. Kimberly Caron joined 3 weeks ago. Alfred Moore joined 3 weeks ago. Nicholas Silva 3 weeks ago. Rodney Willie 3 weeks ago. And a month ago, Addie May joined. So anyway, guys, thank you for if you joined the YouTube channel here and you joined the Facebook group page as well. Thank you. They both go hand in hand with all the content. So make sure you join both. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me today. This has been enjoyable. But again, leave me a comment, leave me your feedback on the subject today about who really should own the entitlement for who started the heavy metal genre. Definitely Black Sabbath, I feel, definitely had all the perfect elements to start that genre. And so make sure you let me know who you think. Who influenced Sabbath as well. If you got any ideas of who influenced Sabbath besides who I discussed today, make sure you mention that as well. So anyway, guys, I've really enjoyed this time. I'll let you know in the comments how the cigar turned out or how it ended up. Definitely a great cigar, um, and very enjoyable. Um, but I really really have loved it so far. But again, my three favorite albums from Sabbath are definitely these three right here. Um, we got the first Black Sabbath from 1970. Um, let's see here. Paranoid from 1970 and Black Sabbath Master of Reality from 1971. Um, so those are definitely my three favorite albums of Black Sabbath, I'd have to say, right there. Um, and this cigar is doing very well. Definitely overall doing pretty good. But I thought it was a great cigar to smoke while discussing these today. So anyway, but you guys tell me what you think. What are your favorite Black Sabbath albums? Let me know your thoughts on Black Sabbath. And let me know if you've ever had this Rome cigar right here. Um, Let me know if you've ever had this cigar and what you think of it as well. Um, so anyway, you guys let me know. So anyway, I've enjoyed this time today with you guys. And again, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. Hope you enjoyed this topic today. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend or week. Um, be safe, be healthy out there, guys. Keep rocking, keep smoking. Thanks for all of you that are following me and supporting me here at Harper Cigar Lounge on YouTube and Facebook. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet today, make sure you do that today. Smash that subscribe button, smash the like button, leave your comments and feedback, any questions for me. Share this content to everyone else you know out there. Hopefully, it'll make someone's day a little bit better. But this is, before I go, this is the hat that I reviewed um, on my last Boston Scala review. This is the violet plaid rose 8-panel peaky. Got my Black Sabbath cap pin there, along with the violet rose cap pin from the Boston Scala Company. The Black Sabbath cap pin I got off of eBay for about $6. The other cap pin from Boston Scally was around $8. There's the inside of it right there. But anyway, I will leave a link in the bio for the Boston Scally Company if you're interested in buying one of these. Um, and of course on the site as well. Um, you can get that cap pin, and then if you go to eBay and just put in Black Sabbath cap pin, you'll find that Black Sabbath cap pin that I got on here. But anyway, I have officially made this my the official Black Sabbath cap. Um, I know Boston Scally did not intend for this to be a Black Sabbath cap, but I have made that on my own to make this my official Black Sabbath cap that I'll wear on special occasions or whenever um, whatever day I want to celebrate Black Sabbath, I'll wear this cap along with my tour shirt. So anyway, guys, that's it for me today, I guess. Keep rocking, keep smoking those great cigars, get yourself a great beverage, take some time to yourself to reflect on all the great things in your life, enjoy, and just stay positive, guys, and think about all the great things in your life over a great cigar. Get with your family and friends too if you can. You guys all have a great cigar together. But you deserve that time. Reflect and spend some time to yourself, guys. And you deserve that. So anyway, guys, I'll see you later. Again, this is Harper Cigar Lounge Season 3, Episode 8. And appreciate you guys being here. This is Troy Harper signing off. And again, keep rocking, keep smoking, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate all of you. We'll see you later. Bye bye now.